Previously on the Apocalypse Eternal Darkness livestream. Jalen exploits a mana hack at the expense of our audience's sanity.
Control. So if you make all the variables that have inputs into the procedural generation, if the player has control over those, then if they do
Jalen finds a gun.
spend the time on the designers and us, spend time on things that are important. And then at the same time, not spend time on the things that are procedurally generated. Now, the overview.
Jalen shows off his gamer face.
The procedurally generator are going to have their own peculiar mission areas. We're going to be able to select them from a hub.
Deep into that darkness peering. Long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting.
And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Apocalypse Studios live stream. My name is Jalen Pachenik, your Community Herald. Thank you guys so much for joining us today in the chat. I'd also like to thank Faceless Mike, Pandora Jane, and Skin Teen for hosting us. Thank you to Jen Wolfie1 for joining the ranks of the Undead as well. We really appreciate that, and couldn't do it without your guys' support, so thank you again. As always, we are joined by our CEO and founder, Dennis Dyack. How are you today, Dennis?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Jalen. How are you?
Good, doing really good. Excited for the stream today because we have a very special guest joining us as well. Jade, otherwise known as Skin Teen. How are you today, Jade?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good, doing really good. Very excited for the stream today.
Are you ready to run around in a circle for another like 15, 20 minutes or something?
We'll see. Hopefully there's not too much of that today. I was making people dizzy last week, so here's hoping I don't have to exploit any mana hacks this time. No promises, though. I can't guarantee anything.
I get to try not to talk in such long intervals, so you can do more than facial expressions. Last week he was doing these huge facial expressions because I won't shut up, so I'll try to be more calm.
Nobody complains, though. It's my gamer face whenever I get excited. When I pick up a good item or, you know.
You could create like a Jalen scale of like mood, like a mood scale, you know, based on all those faces.
That's not a bad idea. I'm sure.
Jalen, am I feeling like today? You know, like
I know that members of our community have already enjoyed taking my various faces and turning them into memes and emotes in our Discord. Speaking of
memes are in overdrive. That is for sure right now.
Oh yeah. Speaking of our community, if you guys haven't seen already, we are giving away a Founders Pack on today's stream. All you have to do is type the word Risen into the chat. RISEN. For your chance to win.
We send forth a vampire.
Thank you, Checkers McGavern. I think I did that right, for joining the ranks of the Undead. Ooh, oh, whoa. Oh, take my eyes off the screen for 2 seconds and I think I just died. Oh, nope, we're okay.
way to go, Checkers. Way to go.
But yeah, type in the word Risen into the chat for your chance to win. You only have to enter it once. Entering it multiple times does not increase your chances of winning. And if you already have a Risen Founders Pack, it is giftable. So you'll be able to give it away to a friend of your choice to give them access to the second age of Dead House Sonata. Whoa, and we just got a whole bunch of new people joining the ranks of the Undead. Thank you, DOOIB, I think, for joining the ranks. There was another name there that I unfortunately missed. But thank you guys, we really appreciate it. Great start to the stream so far. I have to say it's probably got something to do with having you on the stream, Skin Teen.
Definitely, no question.
Recognize a few of those names.
Right.
Looks like there's one question I can ask already. Let me scroll up here. What is the background of Enga? We don't get a lot of it in Eternal Darkness.
Well, and that is, we did that on purpose. We didn't want to. We wanted to. One of the, we've been talking about horror and Lovecraft quite a bit before we actually started streaming. So it's easy sort of to continue the conversation. One of the things I loved particularly about Lovecraft was his ability to really create a world, but not go to such level of detail that you can't use your own imagination. And when we were creating Eternal Darkness, we tried to do the same thing. So with Enga, we wanted to create this ancient city that that is hundreds of thousands of years old, underground, that we don't really explain that much. And so when we were talking about how Into the Mountains of Madness for me is one of my favorite Lovecraft stories, and the whole idea of how the multiple races evolved over time, over hundreds of thousands of years, that's what we tried to create the impression of here in Eternal Darkness. So you have things like this where you've got these ruins and it's all in cement, but it looks kind of high tech because we want these races to be clearly very advanced. So, and when you have something like that that's hundreds of thousands of years old, the only thing after a certain amount of time that will survive is cement. So you can't have wood, you can't have steel. So anything that you would see would look like this. So that's what we tried to do. We tried to create an area where people would be, well, wow, this is advanced and ancient and way bigger than mankind, more than possibly we could ever perceive. And we wanted to create that because we think that that is one of the greatest things that Lovecraft did when he told the stories. And we tried to do that here. I hope that answers the question.
I thought that was pretty in-depth, Yeah, we were talking about Lovecraft right before the show started.
Big Lovecraft fans and Color Out of Space. Oh, I love it. I love it. Amazing movie. Strongly recommended. 2 thumbs up. So you have not played Eternal Darkness, correct?
No, I haven't, and I was wondering how far along in this game it is.
This is towards the end. I think if you like Lovecraft, I think you will really like Eternal Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump this up on my list.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's actually a pretty good game to stream too. One of the interesting things about Eternal Darkness is we have a sanity system where you can see the green meter coming up. When that drops, we start playing with the game, and we break the fourth wall where we start doing things to the game because you're losing your sanity.
Right.
And
yeah.
And the reactions that you'll have, people love it. People love to watch Eternal Darkness. It's been a thing for a while. It's dated now. The game is quite old now, but I think it came out in 2002.
Yeah, the dated thing doesn't bother me if it's got a really good story and like engaging game mechanics. Like the sanity meter, in games today it can be hit or miss, but I think in games like back when this one came out, it was applied more, earnestly, I guess you could say. It's more straightforward. It makes sense,
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on it. I would say give it a shot. There's going to be a few spoilers here.
That's okay.
But yeah, I think you will like it. I think so. But if you do play, you have to let me know what you think after you're done. I would love to get your opinion on it. So.
For sure, I'm gonna put it on my list. I have a big kind of backlog of like PS2, GameCube era stuff that I gotta blow through. I have a big backlog in general stuff, but that for sure. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for hosting us, Ian Sten. I really appreciate that. Wonder who that could be. probably unrelated to our associate producer, Ian Stenhouse. Oh dear. Oh, no. We're just gonna run through this room. Oh boy. Yeah, the sanity effects in this game, Jada, are actually really, really interesting. I don't want to give anything away, but Dennis had to argue that some of these sanity effects might make people break their controllers and GameCubes, but it would be worth it.
I'm all for that.
Oh, there's some fun stuff in there for sure. It's I don't really think there hasn't been a lot of games like it, if any.
No, nothing quite that messes with the player on this level, I don't think. I mean, I was gonna say Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, but I think that one makes sense. Why?
Well, yeah, I think certainly the stuff there was fun, but that was only for a very short period of time. Where with Eternal Darkness, it's a core mechanic throughout the whole game. Where the stuff in Metal Gear was more like an experiment. So.
Oh, I don't remember what I put on the other. We're gonna try this and see if it works then. Yes, first try in the puzzle. Always good to see. Okay. Oh, now I gotta run past that guy one more time.
You're almost there.
Yep.
Almost.
So you're gonna become a speedrunner of this game?
Oh boy. Well, we'll see.
You can enter under the tutelage of Pandora Jane.
Yeah. I'd like to give another shout out to Pandora Jane, because if it wasn't for her, this playthrough would take so much longer.
She's been helping a lot. So what games do you genuinely like to stream?
Oh, I love to play all kinds of horror games. I'll play just about anything. Usually, sometimes my rule is like the worse the better, but it doesn't have to necessarily be the worst so much as if it's got the qualities of like going back today and watching like something from the 90s, and it's got that kind of cheesy flavor, but it's still good, that kind of thing flies for me. But yeah, I'll play just about anything.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I do a lot of these marathon, like I call them 12 hours of scary shit. It's just 12 hours of scary games. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is your favorite horror game of all time?
Oh, that's tough. I've had a lot of discussions about this with like friends, and see, it's hard for me to say PT. That was my favorite horror experience. It's funny that we were talking about Del Toro before this because he had such a big hand in that. But it wasn't like a game. It was like a tech demo, but it defined like the last 5 years of the horror genre, like for better or worse. It just, a lot of people took influence from that. So
that's a great demo. It was unbelievable when that fell through. Super disappointed.
God, Welcome to the Game. Welcome to the Game was scary for a whole different set of reasons for me. Yeah. But it was that one was pretty good. That one actually was pretty terrifying for me. Silent Hill 2 obviously is up there. Silent Hill and Resident Evil, those are good. I really enjoy the Bloober, the guys who did like Layers of Fear and the Blair Witch game and Observer. They're putting out a new Observer I saw yesterday. It's not new, it's like a remastered, and they're adding stuff to it or something. But just about anything they'll put out, I'm a pretty big fan of. I recently, like in the last couple of years, I did some kind of top 5 lists, and I'm like blanking out on it now.
So Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and it inspired me to create Eternal Darkness actually from a standpoint of when I played it, we were pitching another game to Nintendo, and it was like 3 days before I had to fly to Seattle because we live in Niagara, so I'm on the East Coast, and I stayed up almost for 2 days in a row completing Resident Evil 2, and I really liked how you played one character, then you played the other character with the same story from a different perspective,
Yeah.
and blew me away. So I flew down to Seattle, and I was talking to like our executive producer, and he looked at me and he's like, "Dude, it looks like you haven't slept in a week." And I was like, "I haven't. I was playing Resident Evil 2." And he was like, "Isn't it awesome?" I go, "Yeah, it's amazing." And he looked at me, he says, "Why don't we do a Resident Evil like game or a horror game?" And but the thing with Nintendo, of course, is they never want to see anything that's a ripoff or anything. And I'd never want
Yeah.
to do a ripoff. So I said, "What about Lovecraft?" And
Yeah.
no one knew any, like, that was before, way before Lovecraft was cool. Now Lovecraft is, everyone knows Lovecraft, but back
Yeah.
then no one even knew what Lovecraft was, or very few people did. And so yeah, we created a game with 12 characters that you play over 2,000 years in history, with all of the sanity stuff going on and all these connected stories. But it was all a huge homage to Resident Evil. I just loved it. I just loved that game. I thought it
That
was
yeah,
awesome.
that game was great. I played through the original one several years ago, and then the remake. What did you think of the remake? Did you play it?
I didn't play the remake. I watched a lot of it. You know, with the number of remakes and the numbers, it's hard to keep on top of everything, right? It's just like trying to
Yeah.
catch all of the horror movies. It looked pretty good, but yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be able to recapture. You know that, well, you can't recapture that feeling, right? But
Right,
I have
the
a
first time, yeah.
I have a tough question for you. This is a tough question. We'll probably have questions we're supposed to answer too, but as you can tell, I'm getting hyper. Okay, so big switch between the classic Resident Evils and the new Resident Evils, right, when they went first person. And well, actually, I shouldn't even answer. I won't even give you my perspective. What's your perspective on the new direction of Resident Evil compared to the old direction of Resident Evil?
I think that games like Outlast and Amnesia redefined what quote unquote survival horror means in the new age, I guess. So they were taking that inspiration from that when they made 7. And I kind of see the old style coming back because of the success of their remakes of 1 and 2 and 3. Those were so good that I think I'm hoping that the old style of survival horror doesn't die, but I think that they took those directions with 7, especially because 4 through 6 just became like horror shooters.
Yeah, I think that's very perceptive, and I totally agree. And the reason I'm bringing this, so this is a huge design conversation we have with everyone all the time, and it comes down to the difference between horror and dark fantasy or science fiction, but more between horror and, I guess, action adventure. As soon as you go from, say, let's take Alien as a good example, that's a horror.
Yeah.
But then you go to Aliens, it's an action adventure, because you have people who are once you start empowering the protagonist, where they really start becoming like a superhero. It's not that it makes it a bad game in any way, but it shifts it away from what I think is true horror and more something that's action adventure. And
I would
I
agree
love
with that.
horror. Yeah, and so with Dead House, I love horror, just to be clear, but Dead House, people are like, is it a horror game? No, it's definitely gothic, and it's a dark fantasy. But because you play horror characters like vampires, ghouls, revenants, but you're not the victim. You're very powerful. So that in itself is the definition that I kind of look towards on whether it's a horror game or not.
Is this the start of the running in circles, Jalen?
Not yet.
Pretty soon.
Pretty
said.
soon. Not just yet.
I know when I get in big fights like this, I employ what I call the circle pillar strat, where I just run in a circle around a pillar in a room.
Yeah, it works. Hey, if it gets you through the game.
Yeah.
It's the best way to mess up AI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree in terms of of horror, because when Outlast 2 came out, I really wanted to like that game a lot more than I did. Because the themes of it were amazing, but I was having a hard time not believing that my character couldn't just pick up any piece of junk and throw it at one of these diseased churchgoers or whatever
yeah.
that were. I was having a hard time suspending that disbelief. That's one thing about some of these survival horror games where they might take it too far, but also to the point of Dead House Sonata, and is it a horror game? I noticed that a lot with games like perfect example would be Dead by Daylight. To me, it's not a horror game. It's an arena, kind of like a PvP arena game with horror themes, but it's not really like a horror game, you know. So
No, it's exactly right. That's exactly right, and that's how we have horror themes, but we're an action RPG, right?
Yeah, and that's fine too. I love those. You know, if it's got that sprinkle of horror in it, I'm fine.
Speaking of Dead House Sonata, guys, we're currently giving away a free Risen Founders Pack for this week's stream. All you have to do is type in the word Risen into the chat, RISEN, and we've asked that even if you have entered Risen once before this stream, please do it again right now, just to make sure that you have been entered. It won't increase your chances of winning, but if you've already entered, please do it one more time, just so we can make sure Nightbot gets everybody that it's supposed to entered into the contest. There.
Be asking. By definition, when I say Absoloth, End of Gods, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Absoloth. It's by this dev who, I think they made another game called Unforgiving and Northern Hymn, and they're both centered in Nordic mythology. There's a lot of games that are taken off in the indie horror space that are like that. Would I think that changed from a horror game to a gothic one because of what happens in the game? No, that was a pretty strong horror game. That was still a pretty strong horror game.
A lot of Nordic references lately in video games, I've noticed.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Norse is so hot right now.
I love Norse mythology, so
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
huge fan. Hey, so this is me asking random questions. So we were geeking out on horror because we both love horror. So just my next question, Jade, is do you read a lot of horror or no?
I'm getting more into reading horror. I do like to. Yeah. I haven't read a lot of it though. So.
Yeah, so I haven't read a ton either, but I've been turned on lately. So I like exploring different genres. And for everyone who's listening, I strongly recommend this. Tough to read though, from a standpoint of it's extremely dense stuff, but it's really good. So we talk about horror, like Stephen King, and we talk about different types of horror, like survival horror, psychological horror we coined with Eternal Darkness. There's this one writer who's blowing me away right now, and I've known him for a couple of years now, and I keep dabbling, but his stuff is so fantastic. It's philosophical horror, and it's Thomas Ligotti. Amazing stuff. And this is going to sound strange, but did you watch the first season, in my opinion, the only good season of True Detective?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Did you like it?
I loved it. Yes.
Okay. This is how I found Thomas Ligotti. I was speaking to another good friend and academic who's working on Dead House Sonata with us. We're at GDC just chilling, and I was going just off about the dialogue and how amazing this story was in True Detective with the King and Yellow. Who are these writers? These writers are amazing. And he's like, Jeff said to me, he's like, Dennis, they ripped off Thomas Ligotti. I'm like, what? So apparently so I looked it up, and they did. So the first season looks like a lot of it was plagiarized, literally taken from Thomas Ligotti. So then I started reading Thomas Ligotti. So if you like that kind of nihilistic writing style and sort of really dark, very grim stuff that talks about quantum mechanics and sort of Lovecraftian, you'll love Thomas Ligotti. And so I've been reading. I just love it. So he's one of the big inspirations for Deadhouse. It's just really cool stuff. I recommend it for anyone who's listening and watching. So
we had a question from Discord from Lord Scara. Will Deadhouse feature lesser undead like mindless zombies or skeletons that can serve as physical laborers and possibly summons for a necromancer lich?
yes, almost certainly.
That's very good to know. I like the sort of horde of undead necromancer idea for a lich.
Yep.
Yeah, no, for sure. That would be great to just like do the Game of Thrones, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh. Interesting. My
There-
TV seems to have stopped. Oh, never mind. We're back.
Hey.
Some of the sanity
there's-
effects.
They're
Oh,
fun.
wait. Yeah, I saw your meter was like...
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Oh, wow. There was another question for Dennis. Has Bluepoint or Square Enix had any contact with you on a PS5 remake for Blood Omen? Because there's rumors flying around. There's one in the works.
Not for. They have not contacted us. No.
I'm going to have to look into...
I haven't.
don't know.
People have been talking about rumors. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any rumors. Like, I know people want it to happen, but that's been going on for a long time now. I haven't seen any. Has there been any talk coming from Square Enix or the actual publishers? I haven't seen anything.
I don't think I've seen anything. I did watch a video yesterday that suggested that maybe there was, but I don't know. Did Nintendo want Eternal Darkness to appeal to an older market? Is another question in the chat.
Yeah, that's why Nintendo. One of the reasons why Nintendo invested in Silicon Knights back in the day. So I had just when I first connected with Nintendo while we were showing Blood Omen Legacy of Kain off at E3 one year, and it was many years later. But I remember talking to Mr. Arakawa about it for a while. And we're just sitting there, and he was asking me questions, and as you can tell already, I'm sure I'll just talk. And I had no idea who he was at the time, and so we talked for about 45 minutes, and at this where I was just demoing Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, saying what I liked about the game and how it was sort of, in many ways, a dark Zelda, and so after he left, there was like 10 people surrounding him, and it was kind of like this parade of people behind him all watching this interaction. So I knew he was someone important, but I didn't know who he was at the time. And so after this discussion was finished, a younger guy in
In
the seat came up
search
to
of
me, and
answers,
I'm a game
we
developer.
send forth a vampire.
Said, "Do you know who you were just
Western
talking to?" And I was
regions.
like, "No idea." And he was very nice though. He goes, "That was Mr. Arakawa." Back then he ran, Nintendo of America. And then many years later, we connected with Nintendo, and I actually showed off believe it or not, a 2Human demo, and using the Legacy of Kain engine. And I was so excited because we had this new technology where we would be playing this game in 2D and then seamlessly zoom out into the cinema, play the cinema, then come back into the game. I was so excited to show that off. I thought it was a really neat concept, trying to erase the seams from cinemas to game, and always trying to make the experiences as seamless as possible. And then, of course, when we went there to E3, I think it was Final Fantasy VI. I think it was 6 where they started doing that as well, and they were launching the game. So it was like, oh, but we met Nintendo then, and we had done pretty dark games. All the games that I've done in the past were pretty much either super dark fantasy or horror, like no horror yet.
Yeah.
But and they started talking to me, and I was like, you know what kind of games I do? And they're like, yeah, we want people to start doing darker, more mature games. We've got.
I
the
got to
younger market
interrupt for a
covered.
second because Jalen should probably save the game.
Probably, yes. Thank you for the reminder.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. Good to tell them. Yeah, so they specifically connected with us for that. And after we worked together for a while on Eternal Darkness, they expressed interest in a much longer term relationship. And yeah, so that's what happened. And that was one of our things, was to do dark, mature content. And I think what they liked about some of the things that we did, and I certainly loved working with them, is Eternal Darkness is mature, not just because of the violence, but because of the themes, the ideas into quantum mechanics, the very detailed and dark story, the historical accuracy of all the different time zones. I think they like that, and it's not your typical game, that's for sure.
Let's see. There was another question from Discord. What kind of power dynamic are we looking for at here? I'm thinking this is for Dead House Sonata. Is it power fantasy, or is the living going to be an actual threat? In terms of
Yeah, the living are hurting. The living are hurting in Dead House. Or the humans are hurting. But the living is a much bigger scope. There's many houses, and the power dynamic between all the different houses. So we're launching with Dead House, but then we'll be launching other houses, like say Giga House, which will have more of a Norse bent compared to the Gothic bent of Dead House. And each of the different houses will be powerful in their own right, and they'll be asymmetrical, and we'll be doing some PvP stuff as well as some heavily driven narrative stuff for each house.
Cool. Yeah, I was watching a lot of the background stuff yesterday about the community-driven kind of contributions to the game. I thought that was really cool.
Cool.
I gotta ask down the road about this adopt a cat thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. do you like cats?
Yes, I do.
I knew it. So we have, at our house right now, we have 6. And,
oh wow.
And well, it didn't originally start out like that. So when Apocalypse was founded, we adopted some cats. We adopted 3 cats, and I had 3 cats at home. But of course, COVID, so we shut down the office, and it's been like the Brady Bunch here of all these cats. So now there's 6 cats, and I'm literally surrounded by cats right now. And they're used to me, talking to the screen. I think they're starting to figure out that I talk to people through this thing. And so there's one like sleeping against the window. There's Rev over there by the window. There's Lord Cheeseburger sleeping on another chair. But the Adopt a Cat program was, we adopted the cats for the office. And when we would do videos and show the cats, people are like, this is really cool. And we're like, well, why don't we start an Adopt a Cat program? So for anyone who adopts a cat, all you basically have to do is like tweet out a picture of the cat, label like Dead House Adopt a Cat program, and ping us, and then we'll give you the badge in our forums. And when the game launches, you'll have a virtual pet following you around that looks like your cat.
Yeah, I've got to do that. Yeah, Lord Cheeseburger is a pretty strong name for a cat. I agree.
Yeah.
We have a cat. My boyfriend, when he moved in, had a cat. His cat's name is Nathan Scott Phillips, but it's even longer than that.
Nice.
He's got a pretty long name, so.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, I'll have to get Sam in the game.
Oh yeah. Sure. Well, yeah. Just post a picture on a photo, and we by popular demand we now have an adopt a doggy program too. So
I apologize, but I'm gonna have to turn you guys down real quick for this sound puzzle. Unless people want to hear me spinning this
Yeah,
wheel
no.
for the next 2 hours, I gotta listen for this. It is really tough to hear this thing. While I'm doing this, though, guys, if you haven't seen already, we are giving away a free Risen Founders Pack for Dead House Sonata. Please type the word Risen in the chat, RISEN, and you will be entered for your chance to win. Okay, let's see if I can hear this. Oh, this is tough. Oh, I heard it. Okay. Okay, there's one. Oh. I have both of you guys turned down a little bit right now, which actually I now realize means the Discord can't hear you, or the Twitch can't hear you as well, because it's based off of the audio that goes through my headphones. So we'll see if I can do this real quick. Yep. Ooh, there's one. Hopefully that works. I'll try one more. Nope. Well, I'll turn you guys back up at the least. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
can you hear us now, Jalen?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can.
We pasted the combo into the Discord for you, so
Okay.
so there's if you look into the Discord, you'll see the combo.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can hear this again. I've turned you guys back up now, so Twitch should be able to hear you.
Cool.
You don't need to. Yeah, the numbers are in the Discord.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. I was counting. I thought it was 59 to the right, 81 to the left. The number 59. Okay. Not that I'm looking up how to beat these puzzles. I don't know where that idea came from. There's one.
Would ever do that in a world?
No. Yeah.
So there's a question from chat. Would you guys be interested in streaming Blood Omen 2 when you're done with this? Probably.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. We're gonna put after we finish Eternal Darkness, we're gonna throw a bunch of other games up for potential streaming until we're eventually streaming Dead House, but still too early for that right now. So for sure.
That's actually how I found the game. I was going through just my normal channels that I do to find new games, and that one came up, and I was like, oh my god, yes. And then I realized that it wasn't like ready yet, so I had to do more.
Dead House? Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so once I read about it, I became a part of the affiliate thing, and then I backed the game, and I was like,
Nice,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it struck a chord. It's good, especially being a mutual horror fan.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I don't know what it is, but we started making Dead House because I felt there was a voice missing in the industry. A lot of it's going such AAA, and I was one of those guys, with Diablo, was super angry when Diablo 3 didn't launch with the Necromancer. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
like the
class
most
is
fit.
so great now too, but yeah.
Yeah, and so I wanted to make an action and adventure game where every class is like the Necromancer. So that was sort of the whole impetus for, let's do a game where you play very dark things. And yeah, it's the kind of game I'd always want to play. So I'm feeling like we need to take the controller over from Jalen.
We will get this puzzle eventually, I swear.
Do they not make these kind of locks anymore? What's happening?
I suddenly know how it feels to watch me on Twitch from the perspective of the viewer, where you're like, give me the
59.
control.
80.
No, I couldn't do any better. I'll have the exact same problem when I play this.
Is it all the way around to 81?
Yeah, you got to go a full circle, then 81.
Ah,
the way that these
it's been a while since my high school locker days.
Right.
There it is. Holy. All right. If you guys thought me spinning around in circles for half an hour was annoying, how was that puzzle?
There you go.
All right. Oh, and another chapter.
Of course.
Okay, finally. If you guys are just joining us, we are giving away a free Risen Founders Pack for Dead House Sonata. All you have to do is type in the word Risen into the chat, R-I-S-E-N, for your chance to win. You only have to enter it once, and you'll be entered. And if you already have a Founders Pack, you'll be able to gift this one to one of your friends to give them access to the second age of Dead House Sonata. So enter for your chance to win now. And if you're not a part of our Discord, you can go to our website, deadhousesonata.com, to find a link to it, so you can join us for the after party that we'll be having after these streams. Usually on after these streams, we like to hang out and chat with our community, so hope to see you guys there. Okay. Ravenscar, the combination lock is at least natural than watching a human being run in circles. Well.
Okay, so another question. Will we get to see the Spectral Realm in Dead House Sonata? Checkers always loved that aspect of the previous game.
Yes.
The previous
Well, but so it depends on. So I just realized in what the context was. That's in the context of Soul Reaver.
In search of answers, we send
There will
forth
be
a
different
vampire
realms
to
and
the
different
western
pocket
reaches.
dimensions for sure. Not in the same way as Soul Reaver did it. It'll be different, but cool. Hopefully.
Thank you for joining the ranks of the undead, Necro. We really appreciate that. Very fitting name as well for joining us. We always appreciate that. Okay, yeah, and I now see, Dennis, that where some of this stuff had to be redone. I imagine this stuff like this caused a bit of controversy when this game was released. When you were working on it, anyways.
Yeah, we had to redo 1/3 of the game. We were going to make launch for the GameCube, and 9/11 happened, and we had a lot of Arabic content in there, so we had to rewrite it all. And it wasn't that it was negative anyway. It was pretty neutral on the subject matter, but at the end of the day, it was just in many similar ways crazy politically, and the war had started, and we had to. I thought the game was going to get canceled, actually, and I flew down to Japan right after 9/11, and I'll never forget. It was a two-way flight for $99. I think there were 3 people on the plane. No one was flying.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
First time I saw guns at the airport. It was like, for back then, everything changed so massively. But you look at COVID these days. I think this is even a bigger change. It's just so crazy.
It is. Yeah, I remember the day of 9/11. I remember just, stuff before, and then that happened the year after I graduated high school. And I had a job interview that day, I remember. But I remember afterwards, travel was a huge pain.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's never gone back, and now with COVID, I'm, we're lucky enough as a company. We're partnered with Amazon. We moved a lot of our stuff to the cloud, so we can all work from home. But a lot of companies can't, and
Yeah.
so well, like yourself, you can stream, everything's fine. But for some people, they can't. There's no returning to work. Like
There's been a big
airlining.
adjustment, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know when it's going to go back. Don't know.
Mm-hmm. Just wait and see.
Mm.
Hmm. Oh, I don't want that though.
This is the most fun level.
Yeah?
This is the most action. This is the most action-oriented level in the game. This is where we slip from, I would say, action, from horror to action, because you get some pretty good firepower here.
Yeah. Here we go. Now I'm excited. Mike protects his hands. Essence of Chattur'gha. Maybe Effigy. Sapphire. What else do I got on me? Take that. Ooh, can't save. Something's going on in here then. Oh yeah. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Skin Teen, we had I had asked you this before the call, but I thought it was a pretty interesting story. Could you tell people how you came up with the username Skin Teen?
Yeah, I can do that. I've always signed up for services and stuff. I'm elder millennial, so I'm in that interesting pocket where I remember before the internet being huge, and then, I grew up with it sort of. So, or not even just being huge, even existing. So just as long as I've been on it, I've always signed up for services or used usernames that were like this is how we got to the horror discussion that never ended. I will sign up with names that are like a metal song or band reference or something from a horror movie or something. And when I signed up for Twitch, I signed up with the name Skin Teen, which is like a reference to a Riot Girl band, or a really obscure Riot Girl band from the 90s. And when I went to go, I didn't intend on streaming when I signed up for the service. I just needed a name so I could follow people. And once I made the decision I was going to start streaming, I asked a friend of mine if I should keep it or change it, and she was like, "No, keep it. It sounds metal." And I was like, "Okay."
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what was the big tipping point when you went from just being casual to, I really like doing this. This is what I'm going to focus on. If you don't mind me asking.
Well, she had kind of first shown me Twitch, and really I think it was Justin TV at the time, but she'd shown me like people playing video games. She'd specifically shown me like professional StarCraft players, and she was like, "You should do this." And I was at a time where I didn't have a job, and I was kind of considering what to do with my life, and I was like, nobody's gonna watch me. These people are good at this, like I'm not a professional gamer in any way. So but the more I watched, I stumbled across a couple of other people who were they weren't esports, they were variety. So I saw the value of that, and I was like, well, that seems fun. I could do that. And I was playing games with friends and recording, hilarious things that had occurred, which I think a lot of people do anyways. And at the time, I had found employment doing I went to college for web design, graphic design, and I had gotten a job doing videography. So I was doing a lot of that production stuff, and I just decided to get into streaming to not only try to finish games, specifically The Witcher 1, but also that game was really hard to finish. Also, just the production side of it fascinated me. So that's kind of what pushed it over the edge. And I never expected it to really go anywhere. I just thought I would just be doing it for fun. So
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool to hear.
Fair enough. It's always nice when stuff you weren't expecting to work out like that
yeah,
ends up becoming something much bigger. And obviously that you enjoy it. It's always great to do something that you love.
yeah. It turns out I have a knack for making people laugh at the dumb things that I do. So that's good. I realized that. I told people this on my channel not too long ago when the last job I had, one of my performance reviews, which we had like every 6 months, I think. One of them was like, yeah, you're doing fine on your job. Could you send more of those funny emails with the GIFs? And I was like, what? Okay.
That's
They're like, yeah, we think that those really boost morale. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious. That's
Yeah.
funny.
So we have another question for, this is Eternal Darkness related. There's a zoo-like room filled with various monsters in the city of Enga. Are these the N64 creature models?
I'm not sure if we put the N64 creature models in the game. I thought they were just the regular models from the game, obscured by like a plane of transparency, like a window. I don't think they're the N64 ones.
In search of
Not
answers,
that I remember.
we
Anyway, I
send
know
forth a
somewhere
vampire to the
because
west
I got shit for
witches.
it. There's a debug room in the game somewhere that through reverse engineering someone found, and we're not supposed to put those in. And when it was found, I got a call. I was like, "What's this doing in the game?" And I didn't even know about it. So I was like, I remember seeing it during development, but we were supposed to pull them all out, and someone snuck it back in. So
So now I have a question. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Grandma's Boy.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Of course,
Is
yeah.
game development actually like that?
In some ways it actually is. In some ways it actually is. It's the funniest thing because I think all humor, all satire, and even all horror, like it's all built around some truisms. And yeah, there's some pretty crazy stuff that happens in the video game industry that people wouldn't believe.
Some things are similar in some of the people. I was thinking about when you were talking about the models and somebody putting them back in. I was thinking of the whole scene where the guy comes in and suggests to recolor them, and he's like, "No, that's a stupid idea," and then he does it anyways. The JP character, yeah.
Yep.
Just-
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. And there's, I've been in situations. Won't mention which game. None of the ones we're talking about now, but where someone that you're working with literally has the most dumb idea, and you just put it in to save the argument, and
Yeah.
it's as long as it doesn't like totally destroy the game.
Yeah.
It's just it's funny because it's like when you work with anyone, you have partners, and it's the making video games is very hard, and most people it's not what's the best way to describe it, it's not transparent, it's opaque in the sense that it relies upon a deep understanding of what it takes to put in a character model, create an environment, do the lighting for the environment, and you have all
Yeah.
these things that it's hard. And whether you're writing your own engine or using another engine, blah blah blah, and people don't. It's just very difficult to understand. And then there's the people who really get that, and they'll make like the most careful suggestions and try to work within constraints that they can't possibly know. And then other people who just don't care, they'll be like, put a turtle in here, and so you have to deal with it. But hopefully. The whole idea of what we're doing with Dead House and trying to do it ourselves, we're trying to always stay in control. But we work for gamers, so the whole idea of what we're doing now and with the community-driven content, as you pointed out earlier, we want to try to really do something different. And did you ever watch Game of Thrones? Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
Yes.
Okay, me too. And very disappointed with season 8, like everyone else.
Yeah.
And two theories behind why that fell flat. One was, obviously George R.R. Martin didn't finish. The second was the showrunners wanted to go off and do Star Wars. And I think both of those are good possible reasons. I don't know the truth. I don't know if anyone's ever going to know the truth. But I think there's another reason why that failed. And one of the big reasons I think it failed was around the second or third year, the YouTube community and the streaming community just exploded around that series, where people started contributing. This is where I think the story's going to go. This is where I think the story's going to go. And I think after probably season 4 or 5 is when Martin said they're starting to guess the whole story. They're coming up with better stories than I can. I think the community overwhelmed the direction of the showrunners and the scriptwriters, and Martin hadn't finished it, and they were trying to compete against these millions of people, which they had no chance. So when I saw that happen, I was like, imagine if you could work with the community and actually, for sure we're going to be writing our own stories with Deadhouse, but imagine if we open it up to whoever else wanted to write stories. It's just going to get better. There might be some bad stuff, but there's the potential of so much more awesome, which is, I think, we saw with Game of Thrones. So that's the idea.
Yeah, there's this game that I play with my friends on and off on stream called the Blackout Club. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the title.
No, I'm not.
And they have I feel they have a similar approach because they're the lore. It's kind of got a similar Dead by Daylight feel in that you're in a map and you have objectives. It's not PvP though. But they have a deep lore that is shaped by their community, and that's one of the most fascinating aspects of that game to me. And additionally, they'll have they have these elder gods that are in the game, and the devs will come in and actively screw with you while you're playing the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a very cool concept. There were a couple of questions from chat that I wanted to grab in here real quick. The
Sure.
first one was from Death Waltz, says, is Deadhouse going to have a clan system and a clan war system?
Yes, generally. So we're going to be doing PvP with different houses. So at first, when we launch, it's not going to be that. It's important for us to make sure the game is functioning at a level where the single player and co-op experiences are actually working before we dive into the PvP and the multiplayer. But approximately a year later, we intend to launch all of that stuff. Yes.
Cool. And then there was another question from K-Masterlock regarding Blood Omen. Were the pickup cards the original design choice for picking up items?
Yes. I can say that affirmatively because I designed them. I love tarot cards. I love cards. I just love that whole motif, which is coming back for Deadhouse.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yes,
Very
without
cool.
giving too much away. Lots of very productive meetings lately.
Those were cool meetings, weren't they? Was that cool or what?
I'm trying to remember. I think we have time for a couple more questions before we end the stream off. Because it is just about 5 o'clock now.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool to see the art on the cards and stuff.
Yeah, so, when this stuff starts rolling out, you got to tell me what you think because we have some. You can. I just went into excited mode, right? We have some really cool ideas with these cards, and I knock on wood, we haven't seen it anywhere else, and we think it's a very interesting direction we're going to take it, and we'll be rolling out how we're doing this stuff probably in about 3 or 4 months, is my guess. But I would love to get your impression. So when we do, I'm going to reach out and just tell me straight up, good or bad, what you think. I would love to
Cool.
hear
Yeah.
what you think.
Absolutely.
Okay, I gotta get out of here and then save. We'll probably start wrapping up the stream. Oh, okay. Never mind. Well.
No.
Okay. Oh, sanity effect. Oh boy, that one got me. I was incredibly worried that was going to show up on the recap for next week. Okay, go down there. I still can't save, so if you guys
Now
still
you can.
haven't,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
if you guys haven't yet, you still have. This is probably your last chance to enter our contest for a free Risen Founders Pack. All you have to do is enter the word Risen into the chat, RISEN. Entering it multiple times will not increase your chances of winning, but if you've already won a Founders Pack, you'll be able to gift that to a friend. So get your Risens in there before we wrap this stream up. And was there anything else you want to say, Jade, before we wrap this up and announce the contest winner?
Well, thanks for having me. That's this was fun.
Thanks for being here. It was great fun.
Yeah.
We had great horror conversations. It's been going on.
We
it's
did,
Too
yeah.
bad. It's too bad we didn't even tape the first half hour because that was exciting too. So.
Yeah, well, speaking of not taping stuff, this is as good a time to tell Scott that I did not record this stream, so we'll have to pull the VOD off of Twitch, unfortunately. But there we are. The game is saved.
And you can tell how old I am too because I said tape.
Yeah. And I think we're just about ready to have Nightbot announce the winner of this week's Founders Pack contest. Let's see who Nightbot announces is the lucky winner. Roseguard has won the giveaway. Congratulations to
Congrats.
Roseguard. Make sure to reach out to us on Discord and we will make sure that your account on our forums is upgraded and you have the appropriate badges. And congratulations on that free Founders Pack. Dennis, was there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up the stream and I give my spiel?
No, Jade, thanks very much. It was awesome conversations. Really enjoyed you on the stream. Hope you can come back sometime.
Absolutely. Anytime. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much again for joining us, and thank you guys in the chat for coming to watch. If you haven't already, please visit our website, deadhousesonata.com, to find out all the information and more about our upcoming title. There you can also join our Discord, have your voice heard in our community, and visit our store page to purchase a Founders Pack. Make sure to like us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and follow us on Reddit. And see you guys in the Discord after this stream to be a part of our after party and interact with our community. Thank you guys so much for joining us. My name is Jalen Pachenik, and fight the everybody.